In at number 10, Nick Lachey. Nick Lachey also exposed Kim for being a little too friendly with the paparazzi in order to get some publicity from him. The singer claims that Kim might have only been dating him for publicity. Apparently the pair only dated for about a week, and some shady stuff went down. One time he said, let's just say this, we went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside. And I think from that story, it's very clear that Kim was tipping off the paparazzi, so there would be photos of them together. And if you didn't already know, unless someone is like incredibly famous, if they're a paparazzi when they are out, they definitely tipped off that paparazzi. First up, Richard Williams. Since the infamous Will Smith slap, many critics have stated that Will was selfish for taking the spotlight of Richard Williams, the man Smith portrayed in the film King Richard, as it was the night to honor Richard and his family. Well, the man himself has finally weighed in, and it seems that in the nicest way possible, he does not condone what happened at the Oscars. His son spoke to NBC News on behalf of 80-year-old Williams, saying, quote, "We don't know all the details of what happened, but we don't condone anyone hitting anyone unless it's in self-defense." Williams' son states that his father was shocked when Smith got up and suddenly slapped Chris Rock for making a joke about his wife Jada Pinkett Smith. Williams declined to say any more than that simple statement, although many were hoping Richards would comment on the comparison that Will Smith made to Richard Williams during his Oscars acceptance speech. Next up, Rose Rock. Chris Rock's mother, Rose Rock, has finally broken her silence on the slap during an interview with a local South Carolina TV station. Rock sat down with South Carolina News, WIS-TV, and shared her thoughts on what went down at the Oscars. Rock said, quote, "You reacted to your wife giving you the side eye, and you went and made her day because she was mulled over laughing when it happened." Rose shared that initially she thought the incident was staged or some sort of joke, but after Will began cussing about his wife, she knew it was real. Rock added, quote, "When he slapped Chris, he slapped all of us. He really slapped me. Because when you hurt my child, you hurt me." When talking about the apology that later took place during Smith's acceptance speech, Rock said, quote, "No one heard his speech. No one was able to just be in the moment because everyone was sitting there like, what just happened?" And at number 10, Kim Kardashian's tape. This is truly the scandal that started it all, and the Kardashians arguably would not be where they are today without the release of this tape. Right before Keeping Up with the Kardashians was set to air on E!, the intimate tape of Kim and her then boyfriend Ray J was leaked to the public and went insanely viral. The Kardashians got in a legal battle to try and get it under control, but it didn't work, and the tape was eventually sold to a media company and released. Kim said about the tape in a 2012 interview, quote, "I'm not naive to the fact that that's pretty much how I was introduced to the world. It was a negative way, so I felt like I really had to work 10 times harder to get people to see the real me. I felt humiliated." In the year since its release, it's been long rumored that the Kardashian family leaked the tape themselves to drum up publicity and a storyline for the show. And if that's the case, it totally worked. And at number 9, Jon Hamm. The Mad Men star definitely has some choice words for the Kardashians, and based off what he said, it's clear he does not like the family and doesn't approve of how they rose to fame. With him telling LUK, whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupidity is certainly celebrated. Being an idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you're rewarded significantly. It's celebrated. It doesn't make sense to me. So clearly he doesn't like the reality TV stars whatsoever and doesn't like how our society praises socialites like Paris Hilton and the Kardashians. And like, I kinda get where he's going. Like, you know, he has some valid points. In at number 8, Kristin Cavallari. Kristin Cavallari has a very interesting relationship with the Kar Jenner clan. It all started when Kristin dated Brody Jenner, and through that relationship she also became friends with the Kardashians. But after Brody and Kristin broke up, there was tension between Kristin and Kourtney Kardashian. After Kourtney caught Scott out with Kristin while they were in an off period. And after that, Kristin called out the family for using that information as a publicity stunt to get viewers to their show. And allegedly, after rumors broke that Kristin and Scott were having an affair, the Kardashians refused to deny it and instead waited to address it on their show, leaving Kristin looking like, you know, the bad, terrible other woman when it just wasn't even true. More than a little shady if you ask me. The Oscars. After the infamous slap, the Oscars was put on the defensive, being forced to explain what happened and why Will Smith was not kicked out of the show after his insane behavior. Days after the ceremony, the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, which runs the Oscars, said in a statement, quote, "Mr. Smith was asked to leave the ceremony and refused." However, this information has been debated, as a source told NBC News that while the higher-ups at the Oscars were debating what to do, one of the show's producers told Will to stay. However, a source at the show told NBC News that the official decision came from one of the show's producers. Days after this information came to light, the Oscars also announced their official decision on how to punish Smith for his actions. After deliberation, the Academy decided to ban the actor from attending the award show for 10 years. Smith, who resigned from the Academy last week, replied soon after in a statement saying, quote, "I accept and respect the Academy's decision." The official statement from the Academy said, quote, "The 94th Oscars were meant to be a celebration of the many individuals in our community who did incredible work this past year. However, those moments were overshadowed by the unacceptable and harmful behavior we saw Mr. Smith exhibit on stage. During our telecast, we did not adequately address the situation in the room. For this, we are sorry." As for the decision, they said, quote, "The board has decided for a period of 10 years from April 8th of 2022, Mr. Smith shall not be permitted to attend any Academy events or programs, in person or virtually, including but not limited to the Academy Awards." Next up, Alexic Arquette. Late actress Alexic Arquette came forward in 2016 with a huge secret. She claimed that Will cheated on his first wife, Cherie Zampino, with a man, and that's why the relationship ended. Arquette claimed that Jada is a beard for Will, and that's why they have an open relationship where Jada is allowed to sleep with other men. Arquette even claimed that Smith paid off Zampino after she caught him in bed with another man. Arquette claimed that Will was sleeping with Benny Medina, who is a well-known talent manager to stars like Jennifer Lopez and Mariah Carey. Arquette claimed that Will was doing everything possible to hide his sexuality, recalling an incident where Will refused to kiss Anthony Rapp on the set of 6 Degrees of Separation. In the end, the camera angle was changed so that the non-existent kiss was not viewed on camera. Arquette finished the Facebook post claiming she was angry that Will was hiding his true identity, adding, quote, "Gays have enemies. They lurk in gilded closets. Outing is healthy. You're either with us or against us. You decide today." And this is not the only time a rumor like this has come to light. In 2012, it was rumored that Will and Jada were headed for a divorce after she felt that he was a little more than friends with actor Dwayne Martin. Supposedly, they were spotted looking very close, even in restaurants together. Vitaly Siduk. Little known fact is that the Oscars was not the first time that Will Smith has smacked a man in public at an award show event. Vitaly Siduk interviewed Will on a red carpet almost a decade ago, and after they had a negative interaction, Will smacked him in the face as well. While being interviewed, the pair hugged, and when Siduk went to kiss him on the cheek, Will freaked out and backhanded him on the face. Although many felt this move was justified at the time, it shows that Will's first reaction in a negative situation is violence. The incident took place at the Moscow opening of Men in Black 3 in May of 2012, while Siduk was working for a Ukrainian television station. After the incident with Chris Rock, Siduk stated, quote, "I just immediately recollected the slapping incident in Moscow. I think the joke was inappropriate when it comes to someone's health, but Will's reaction is unnecessary and sends the wrong message to comedians being hit for a joke." Adding, quote, "I don't want to call Will Smith uncontrollable, he has a violent temper, yes, but I'm sure he realizes what he is doing." Siduk acknowledged that it was a bad joke and he understands why he was protecting his family, however it shows that violence is always his first instinct. Jeanette Hubert. Jeanette Hubert, the actress who played Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for the first 3 seasons, reportedly hates the cast, specifically Will Smith. She also dislikes his entire family and thinks they should get over themselves, saying once, quote, "You're not kings and queens, you're not royalty, you're simply entertainers." After portraying Aunt Vivian for 3 seasons, she decided to leave after contract negotiations went south. A feud between Hubert, Will Smith, and network officials was reportedly to blame. At the time she left, Will Smith said, quote, "I can say straight up that Jeanette Hubert wanted the show to be the Aunt Viv of Bel-Air show." Hubert responded by stating that Will Smith was unwilling to help her and would not elevate any other cast members during salary negotiations with NBC, saying at the time, quote, "We thought your influence would help us greatly, like they did on Friends. On Friends, the entire cast band together to ensure they all got an equal raise." However, at the time, Will felt he was better than his other castmates and claimed, quote, "My deal is my deal, and y'all's deal is y'all's deal." Years later in 2011, when there were talks of a reunion, she claimed there would never be a reunion because Smith is a, quote, "a-hole." When a photo of an apparent reunion was posted by Alfonso Ribeiro, aka Carlton, Hubert slammed it, calling Alfonso a media hoe and adding she will never participate because, quote, "I have no interest in seeing any of these people on that kind of level." Trey Smith. When speaking of the Smith family, most people only think about Will, Jada, and their kids Willow and Jaden. However, there's another son in the mix, Trey. Trey is a child from Will's first marriage to Cherie Zampino back in the early 1990s. Back then, Will was adamant on having a family and making them his first priority, but they decided to divorce after Will realized he was not able to love Zampino the way he wanted to. After Will married Jada and had kids with him, those 2 kids became his top priority, and he stopped spending time with Trey, causing Trey to feel, quote, "betrayed and abandoned" while growing up. Zampino once revealed that Trey would confide in her and admitted that when he was a kid, he did not feel loved by his father. However, thankfully things have changed with time, and Trey is a visible part of the Smith family now, even attending movie premieres with the rest of Will's kids. Will himself revealed in a past Instagram video that his son, quote, "felt betrayed and abandoned by him, but they are now restoring and recovering the relationship." First up, of course, we have Chris Rock. The person who has shown the world the true dynamic of the Smith family is definitely Chris Rock. After Will smacked Chris on stage at the Oscars, the world got to see a different side of Will, and it was shocking. While comedian Chris Rock was speaking to the crowd and taking some dig at the celebrities in the audience, Rock decided to take a jab at Jada Pinkett Smith, and I'm sure you know what happens next. Chris said, quote, "Jada, love you, G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it," referencing her almost bald head, because in the movie G.I. Jane, the lead actress Demi Moore had a shaved head. Jada has been open about her struggle with alopecia, and that's why she shaved her head that night. Immediately after the joke, Will Smith decided to get up, interrupt the broadcast, and slap Chris Rock in the face for millions to see. Chris looked stunned and was not sure exactly how to respond. Will then walked back to his seat and yelled, quote, "Shut your mouth, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," twice. After the slap, Rock looked completely stunned, having no idea what to do or say. It looked like he was about to clap back and say another harsh joke about Will or his family, but Rock took the high road and decided to stay calm. The internet was set ablaze by the slap, with many not even sure if it was real or just staged for publicity. But considering the aftermath, it was clearly real. Although many pointed out that Will actually laughed at the joke moments before deciding to get up and slap Chris Rock. After this event, many are accusing Jada of wearing the pants in their relationship and manipulating Will to do her dirty work for her. There is a chance that he was simply defending his wife, but many believe that Will knew that if he didn't do something to avenge her honor in that moment, Will would have been in trouble. Even though the event was said to be the biggest night of Will Smith's life, which definitely it was, just not in the way that he wanted. Next up, August Alsina. After the infamous Oscars slap, old reports that Jada had cheated on Will in the past resurfaced. The pair have spoken about how they are in an open marriage, so we are not sure if it was really cheating or not, but Jada admitted she was in a quote entanglement with rapper August Alsina during a break with her husband. During the Red Table Talk segment where they spoke of the affair, Will looked visibly angry about the situation and pushed Jada to confirm that she did have a relationship with August. After admitting to cheating, she did not apologize or even seem remorseful. She instead deflected, saying, quote, "I was in a lot of pain, I was very broken," saying she only wanted to help August, but it turned into a relationship. Alsina had been introduced to Jada by her son Jaden at a London music festival in 2015. Insiders stated that August became like a member of their family, even going on vacations with them and staying in their mansion. August is 21 years younger than Jada, and he claimed that Smith had actually given his blessing to have an affair with his wife, an allegation that Jada has denied. Will also reported that he had affairs with other women during this time. He was rumored to have slept with co-star Margot Robbie. Many believe that Will's insane reaction to the joke is proof that he is in a toxic relationship with his wife, because he completely embarrassed himself on the biggest night of his life, all because of a bad joke. Even though it doesn't seem like Jada is ashamed of anything she did, it is strange that she tried to deny it, then downplayed it when she could not brush it off anymore. And without August coming forward, we would have never known about their strange relationship. Margot Robbie. Jada most likely hates actress Margot Robbie because it was rumored that Margot and Will had an affair while they were filming the movie Focus. But that's not all. Jada has also admitted that she has a bias against white women with blonde hair, which we assume attributed to this dislike. In 2018, Jada made headlines when she admitted on Red Table Talk that she has a racial bias, specifically admitting that she has a problem with blonde white women, saying on the episode, quote, "I do have my own biases, specifically with blonde women. Blonde hair on white women just triggers me, and I've had to catch myself." Pinkett Smith even admitted that she second-guessed doing interviews with blonde women in the past because they remind her of the type of kids who used to tease her in school. But Jada has worked hard to fix this bias and even admitted that white women still do face oppression based on their gender, making it easier to relate to them. Next up, Cherie Zampino. Cherie Zampino was married to Will Smith before he and Jada got married. The shady part is that Will and Jada started dating before he and Cherie were officially divorced. Jada's mother, Adrienne Banfield-Jones, dished on Access, quote, "I think initially when Will first called you, I think he was still married or he was just separated, and I was like, he's not available to you." Jada added that Will was div, but the orst didn't happen yet. But Jada later admitted that when she learned things were not finalized, she should have backed off. To make matters worse, Jada has claimed on multiple occasions that she never even wanted to marry Will. She only decided to go forward with it because she was pregnant. Her mother and Will thought that starting a family was the best idea, and Jada reluctantly agreed. Later, the couple agreed to an open marriage. Scientology connections. After the Chris Rock incident, some started connecting the dots between the bizarre slap and Scientology. This is because the Smiths have been tied to Scientology in the past, and physical punishment is a popular teaching in the church. Apparently, it's a common teaching in Scientology to use slaps and other forms of physical force to show other Scientologists that they've done something wrong. After the slap, one user tweeted, quote, "There's a Scientology course, I guess you'd call it, that involves slapping or physically humiliating fellow Scientologists in a group setting as a means of exerting superiority. It's remarkably common within the cult." The user even shared that Tom Cruise is known to use similar styles of punishment, but instead of hitting, he uses shouting to intimidate movie crews. Although the Smiths have denied being involved with Scientology, the connection is pretty hard to deny. The couple were apparently introduced to the church by none other than Tom Cruise back in 2004. They got so involved with it that the Smith family spent almost $1 million in 2008 to set up a school for the church. The Smiths said they designed the curriculum in the school, but insiders claimed it was based on Scientology. Both Jaden and Willow attended, but the school closed 6 years later when most of the parents removed their children. Tony Ortega, an expert in Scientology, said that the Smiths left Scientology in 2015 and that Will at least only ever dabbled in it. However, he says that Jada was a full-fledged member and apparently everyone knows it. And at number 9, Kylie Jenner's lips. Kylie Jenner was once considered the ugly duckling of the Jenner sisters, and she was not treated the same way as the rest of her family. Because of her insecurities, she's gotten a lot of procedures and has become unrecognizable from her former self. However, following all these procedures, she is now considered one of the most beautiful women in the world. Kylie's first procedure was lip injections, and it was hard to deny that there was a huge difference in the size of her lips basically overnight. At first, she denied it and claimed it was all lip liner, but the public isn't stupid and we all knew it was a lie. Then later in 2017, she decided to fess up to the change and admitted she got lip filler because of an insecurity about the size of her lips. Later, she turned all the talk about her lips into a billion-dollar business, selling her Kylie lip kits, which was the first of its kind. In at number 8, Kim and Chris Humphrey's 72-day marriage. Kim's lavish wedding was considered the wedding of the century, and there was even a 2-part special created on E! To celebrate the big day. But since so much content was created out of the relationship, many questioned if the whole thing was just for show. Those accusations got even worse when it was revealed that Kim filed for divorce only 72 days after their lavish wedding. Chris even sued Kim at one point, claiming the relationship was fraudulent just for press. However, Kim clarified on a May 2017 appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen that she knew the marriage was doomed from the beginning. Quote, "I just thought, holy shit, I'm 30 years old, I better get this together, I better get married." And at number 7, Lamar Odom cheated on Khloe. This one truly breaks my heart because Khloe and Lamar were one of my favorite couples of all time. But sadly, this was when Khloe's bad luck with men would really start. It was revealed that during their marriage, Lamar cheated on Khloe countless times. They were married from 2009 to 2016, and in that time, Lamar claims he slept with hundreds of women. He claimed later that he had a sex addiction. Khloe shared her thoughts on the news in a 2016 interview with Howard Stern. Khloe said, quote, "I was genuinely blown away. Like, when did he fit that in? I don't know." Then in an interview Lamar did in 2017, he revealed that after he got married to Khloe, women came out of the woodwork to try and be with him. Lamar added, quote, "If there's one thing I regret when I was married, it was having multiple affairs with different women. That wasn't the stand-up thing to do." Lamar later said he would get back with Khloe in a heartbeat. And at number 6, Kendall Jenner's Pepsi ad. Being in a Pepsi ad is a really high honor, and tons of celebrities like Michael Jackson and Cindy Crawford had the honor to be a part of one. So when the opportunity was presented to Kendall Jenner, she jumped at the chance. But it ended up causing the biggest scandal of her entire career. She was a part of a protest-themed ad in 2017 because at that time the Black Lives Matter movement was being heavily discussed in the media, and there was a lot of tension between protesters and law enforcement. But of course, using an important social movement to sell a can of soda rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and Pepsi and Kendall got tons of backlash. Pepsi pulled the commercial and issued an apology, while Jenner told Vogue in March of 2018 that her quote intention was not to hurt anyone, but it's still a huge stain on her reputation. Halfway number 5, Kendall and Kylie's t-shirts. One of the many business ventures the Kardashians developed was a clothing line for Kendall and Kylie, simply named after themselves. The clothing line was pretty successful until the girls released an incredibly insensitive t-shirt showcasing the faces of deceased artists like the Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur. After the release in 2017, Biggie's mother, Valletta Wallace, called the sisters out on Instagram, writing, quote, The disrespect of these girls to not even reach out to me or anyone connected to the estates baffles me. Paris Jackson also commented on how tone-deaf the release was. Paris took to Twitter and wrote in part, quote, "As a huge fan of Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Floyd, I mean these bands literally helped shape who I am today. I can't condone this fashion. Legends like these who completely changed our world today, not just the music world, should be respected and honored, not turned into this." A photographer who shot one of the images also filed a lawsuit against the Jenners, but it was dropped in April of 2018, and the sisters pulled the shirts almost immediately. And at number 4, Kim's blackface scandal. Cultural appropriation and blackfishing are something the Kardashians are called out for pretty often. The worst backlash on this subject was when Kim released a campaign for KKW Beauty, and fans accused her of blackface. This is because in the photo, her skin color was significantly darker than what we usually see. Kim immediately took down the photos and apologized. She later told the New York Times, quote, "I would obviously never want to offend anyone. I used an amazing photographer and a team of people. I was really tan when we shot the images, and it might be that contrast was off." Kim then re-edited the photos to be more natural, and the launch went off without a hitch. And at number 3, Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe. Sadly, cheating is something that Khloe has had to deal with throughout her entire relationship with Tristan. At first, when they got together, everyone was thrilled and he seemed like a great guy. But then, right before Khloe was set to give birth in 2018, leaked video showed that Tristan was out cheating on Khloe at a club. At the time, she was 9 months pregnant, and sadly she learned that he was nothing but a cheater who was not ready for commitment. A source close to Thompson told us exclusively, quote, "None of his friends are surprised by this and they all know that he cheats." Then more photos came out showing him taking a girl into his hotel room late at night, meaning this was clearly a pattern and not the first time. Khloe decided to stay with Tristan for the sake of her family, but this would not be the last time that he publicly embarrassed her. And at number 2, Tristan cheats on Khloe again. The phrase "once a cheater, always a cheater" is most fitting here, because after getting back with Khloe, Tristan cheated once again. To make matters worse, he cheated with close family friend of the Kardashians, Jordyn Woods. After this, Khloe was quick to call it quits. A source said, quote, "This time it hurts even more because the person who it was with is someone who knows very much what Khloe has gone through in the past year." A second insider said that Thompson is, quote, "just a cheater and doesn't care about anyone besides himself, his wants and his needs in the moment." Jordyn went on Red Table Talk after the scandal and confessed they did kiss, but nothing more. Then unfortunately, after some time apart, Tristan and Khloe got back together in August of 2020, but have split again since. And finally at number 1, Kanye's presidential run. This scandal is unfortunate because at first it had nothing to do with the Kardashians, but during one of Kanye's campaign rallies, he spilled some major secrets about his relationship with Kim. The worst was when Kanye exposed that he and Kim almost terminated the pregnancy with their first child, North. A source told Us Weekly that the Skims founder was, quote, "deeply upset with Kanye for talking about their personal life and for making matters that are very personal to them and their family public." Then Kanye went off on Twitter, revealing even more secrets and even accusing Kim of cheating with rapper Meek Mill. 6 months later, Kim filed for divorce. Apparently, the pair had been living separate lives for many months, and Kim was just done dealing with Kanye's unpredictable behavior. Next up, William Hendrix. The Oscars was the first time that many Will Smith fans saw him get violent. But to people like William Hendrix, his hot temper is well known. In 1989, Smith spent a night in jail after he hurt a man named William Hendrix so badly that Hendrix almost lost his sight. Even more coincidental, this incident happened days after Will won his first Grammy. I guess he likes to get into altercations around awards season. The charges were later dropped against Will. Will Smith was 20 years old at the time, and after getting in a verbal argument with the producer, decided to make things physical. As per a police report, Smith asked his bodyguard, Charles Alston, to, quote, attack record promoter William Hendrix, who needed 6 stitches after he fractured his left eye orbit during the altercation. Next up, Sony executives. One of the strangest things about the Smith family is the couple's relationship to their children. The Smiths have been open that they don't use punishment when dealing with their kids, and they pretty much let them do whatever they want. But this parenting style may have backfired, because it's common talk in the industry that Willow and Jaden are entitled brats that nobody wants to work with. Because of their parents, the kids have auditioned for many big roles in the past, but only Jaden has landed roles alongside his father. It was exposed that Sony executives have exchanged emails saying not to allow the Smith kids in their movies. As a response to this, Will shrugged and noted how, quote, everyone disses his kids. Some of this might stem from the differences between Will and Jada and how much fame they want their kids to have. Sources say that Will wants to push his kids to fame much more than Jada wants to, leading to a clear difference in parenting. Considering Will admits to being responsible for their kids' erratic behavior, it's not far-fetched to think that there's a clear difference in what both parents want for their children.
Number 10. Against discipline. Smith's unusual parenting style has raised eyebrows over the years, but he and his wife faced backlash in April 2013 when he revealed that they didn't believe in punishing their two younger children, Willow and Jaden. Will told Metro UK, quote, "We don't do punishment. The way that we deal with our kids is they are responsible for their lives. Our concept is, as young as possible, give them as much control over their lives as possible." And when talking about the concept of punishment, they believe it has too much of a negative quality. Basically, their whole parenting philosophy is that they don't believe in disciplining their kids. But criticism of their parenting style really exploded in 2014 when 13-year-old Willow was photographed in bed with a 20-year-old actor laying down right beside her. The whole thing even led to an investigation by Child Protective Services. In an interview with BBC Radio a couple of years later, after the initial drama, Will actually admitted that he and Jada may have gone a bit too far in their hands-off approach, and perhaps should have kept a tighter rein on Jaden and Willow. Regardless of whether you think the Smiths were wrong in their parenting approach or not, there's no denying that it led to two incredibly creative individuals. Number 9. Wanting multiple girlfriends. While the Smiths are no longer trying to hide how they feel about open relationships, many people have actually taken more offense to Will's misogynistic comments about women, specifically when he admitted in a 2021 GQ profile that his fantasy was to have, quote, "a harem of girlfriends." He proceeded to name Halle Berry and ballet dancer Misty Copeland as two women that he would invite to be in it. Then, under the direction of an intimacy coach that he had at the time, he researched them and even made plans to contact them. Quote, "The idea of traveling with 20 women that I loved and took care of and all that, it seemed like a really great idea." Obviously, he never acted on the impulse, eventually realizing that it wouldn't be fun at all in reality. He apparently came to the conclusion that it would be horrific and it would in fact make him miserable. Can't really argue with that one, but it might have been a good idea to keep that fantasy hidden. Number 8. The entanglement. Musician August Alsina brought the Smiths' relationship into the spotlight in July of 2020 when he revealed that he was romantically involved with Jada, and Will knew about it the whole time. He had even given them his blessing. Although Jada initially denied the claims, she eventually confessed to being in an entanglement with August when she and her husband were separated. Quote, "We decided we were going to separate for a period of time, and you go figure out how to make yourself happy, and I'll figure out how to make myself happy," Smith said during an appearance on the Red Table Talk in July of 2020. They both went on the talk show together, and in a heartbreaking episode, Jada told Will how she came to be romantically involved with August, and how he made her feel special because of what they were lacking in their relationship at the time. Will took the whole thing like a champ, but the clip went viral online because he looked like he was on the verge of tears the whole time that Jada was talking. Looking back on that moment now, it almost hurts to watch. Number 7. Strange beliefs. Jaden and Willow Smith have long been open about their bizarre opinions, but all of their insane comments have mostly been swept under the rug over the years. The siblings have also come out and labeled themselves as indigo children, who are believed to possess special, unusual, and supernatural traits that was popularized in the 70s. One of the most unforgettable interviews was done by T Magazine in 2014, who felt that their sibling dynamic would make them just the right people to talk about all those classic teenage topics such as quantum physics, prana energy, and the lucid, often elusive nature of temporal interpretation. Jaden said, quote, "Here's the deal, school is not authentic because it ends. It's not true, it's not real. Our learning will never end. And that kids who go to normal school are so teenagery and so angsty." He went on to say that you never learn anything in school. Think about how many car accidents happen every day. Quote, "Driver's ed? What's up with that? I still haven't been to driver's ed because everybody I know has been in an accident, and I can't see how driver's ed is really helping them out. I mean, we could break that down even more, but I don't really see the point." It's just funny because you know he was completely serious when he said it. Number 6. Hating on Aunt Viv. One of the most controversial opinions that Will has had is that of Janet Hubert, who played Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. When she left the sitcom due to creative differences in 1993, Will slammed his former co-star during a radio interview. "All I can say is straight up that Janet Hubert wanted the show to be the Aunt Viv of Bel-Air show." He also said that she told him, quote, "I've been in the business for 10 years and this snotty-nosed punk comes along and gets a show?" Those comments marked the start of what would eventually become a 30-year feud. Janet claimed that Will spread lies about her behavior on set because he knew the audience was mostly on her side. It wasn't until the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion special in 2020 that Will even acknowledged that he had made the set difficult for Janet during the 3rd season. It was a really sad moment because she admitted that the rumors Will started had cost her everything, including her career and her reputation, saying, quote, "Calling a black woman difficult in Hollywood is the kiss of death." Will only realized his mistake much too late and said that after having 3 kids, he's learned some things he did not know at the time, and he would do things differently with Janet had he gotten another chance. Number 5. Secret third child. Not everyone knows that Will actually has a 3rd child from his first marriage to Cherie Zampino. Trey Smith, who is now 29 years old, mostly lived with his mother following his parents' divorce in 1995, and so that's why he's still relatively unknown. But Trey has actually struggled quite a bit compared to his half-siblings. In a 2018 Instagram post, Trey said that he felt betrayed and abandoned for a long time after his parents' divorce, and even Will admitted that he and his eldest child struggled for years to develop a good father-son relationship because he basically made a whole new family and moved on without Trey. The truth is, his father's total absence from his day-to-day life was quite hard on him growing up, and Will has also said that he regrets how neglected Trey felt. In fact, they have only recently been back on good terms, and the actor said that he and his firstborn son have slowly started growing and healing, overcoming their past trauma, even posting on Instagram in 2018, quote, "It is a wild blessing to recover and restore a loving relationship with my beautiful son." Number 4. How they met. The couple often paint their love story as one for the ages, but they definitely tried to gloss over the fact that their relationship began when Will was technically married to his first wife, Cherie. In fact, Jada let this information slip voluntarily in a 2018 interview with Access, admitting that when Will first reached out to her, he wasn't exactly fully free to do so. Quote, "He was just separated," and then went on to say that the divorce had not even happened yet. The couple has maintained that they weren't physically involved until the divorce was finalized, but many fans believe Will's heart had certainly strayed well before he made any move to end things with Cherie. During a sit-down interview on Red Table Talk, Will actually said that at a certain point in his first marriage, quote, "I had a realization that I wasn't with the person I was supposed to be with," but maintained that he didn't want to get divorced. He kind of admitted that instead of being honest with his wife right away, he just lost feelings for her and kept it private. But in the end, his ex-wife was the bigger person and ended up asking for the divorce, which allowed him to publicly date Jada right after the papers were signed. Number 3. Nepotism. The Smith family are undeniably a very tight-knit unit, collaborating on so many projects together throughout their careers. Some critics have accused the patriarch of nepotism, and they may have a point. It's pretty easy to see why. Just glancing through Jaden Smith's IMDb page, you can actually see that most of the movies he starred in were produced by one of his parents. The accusations were so intense that in Will's memoir, he opened up about casting The Pursuit of Happiness, saying that the studio actually didn't want to cast Jaden because it would seem like nepotism, and that would just ruin the credibility of the film from the get-go. But even though the studio was hesitant, the concerns didn't keep the Smiths from pushing for Jaden to get the part, and eventually they had their way. Don't get me wrong, the movie was great, but fans could not ignore the clear favoritism that was happening behind the scenes. Many people even called out his acting abilities in After Earth, which completely bombed at the box office, and Will even called it the most painful failure of his career. Number 2. Open marriages. Will and Jada have been shutting down rumors for literally decades, from claims that they're in an open relationship and speculation that they're swingers, to reports that Jada even cheated on Will with Mark Anthony. During an interview with GQ in 2021, Smith finally revealed that he and his wife haven't always been monogamous. Quote, "Jada never believed in conventional marriage," and went on to say that Jada had family members that had an unconventional relationship. So she grew up in a way that was very different to how he grew up. He hinted that both parties had taken advantage of the trust and freedom in their relationship in their own way. Will admitted that for a large part of their relationship, monogamy was what they chose, but it's clear that somewhere down the line they decided to stray from that traditional dynamic. In fact, Will was rumored to be hooking up with Margot Robbie on the set of their film Focus in 2013, after photos were leaked of the pair joking around and getting very close in front of the camera in a photo booth. But Margot was quick to deny everything on Twitter. Quote, "There's absolutely no truth to the ridiculous matter. It's disappointing that goofing around on set could be taken so out of context." Well, people really do jump to conclusions. And coming in at number 1, ties to Scientology. While the couple have never confirmed their religious affiliation, the Smith family has long been rumored to be members of the controversial Church of Scientology. Smith told Men's Vogue in May 2011, quote, "I've studied Buddhism and Hinduism and I've studied Scientology with Tom Cruise, and nobody's saying anything different." His comments obviously earned a great deal of backlash, especially when he claimed 98% of the principles are identical to the principles in the Bible. But then in October 2018, he declared that his family have never been Scientologists. To confuse matters even more, many of the Smiths' movies reportedly contain Scientology references and themes. In 2013, Vulture even called his sci-fi flick, After Earth, that he did with Jaden, a love letter to Scientology. Not to mention the fact that in 2007, Will and Jada donated over $122,000 to the church. The truth is, we may never know whether the family are members of the religious movement or not, but the fact that the famous family hasn't condemned Scientology is already a major problem for some fans, especially as more and more disturbing allegations are continuing to come out about the church in recent years. 10. Wave of accusations. Will Smith shocked fans, viewers, and Chris Rock when he walked onto the stage at the 2022 Academy Awards and slapped the comedian across the face, then casually just walked right back to his seat. The incident occurred while Rock was introducing the award for Best Documentary and joked about Jada Pinkett Smith's haircut. It was then that Smith silently got up on stage, walked over to Rock and slapped him across the face on live television. The shocking moment has not only got him banned from the Oscars for 10 years, but has already cost Smith several projects, which have either been cancelled altogether or shelved in the fallout from the infamous slap. Apple is reportedly delaying the release of Smith's much-awaited film Emancipation to 2023 following the incident. Netflix also canned the sequel to Smith's 2017 action film Bright, although they claim the cancellation was unrelated to the slap. And there are many additional projects that Smith had lined up that have been totally smacked down, leading him to reportedly have an emergency meeting with his agent to develop a strategy combating the wave of cancellations. Number 9. Early damage control. In what seemed like his very first attempt at damage control, Will Smith gave a teary apology during his acceptance speech at the 2022 Oscars, not long after the infamous Chris Rock slap occurred. Quote, "I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees. This is a beautiful moment and I'm not crying for winning an award." Smith took home Best Actor for his role in King Richard, but because of the crazy events that had just transpired on stage, it looked like the actor was already trying to get himself out of hot water by saying that art imitates life and that he looked like a crazy father, just like they said about Richard Williams. But love will make you do crazy things. The first-time Oscar winner could barely get out his words as he held back tears, which would have otherwise been very touching if you forget the fact that he violently attacked Chris Rock and humiliated him in front of millions of people. The 53-year-old tried to downplay the incident by thanking the Academy and saying that he hopes to be invited back to the Oscars, but the only person he didn't apologize to was Chris Rock. Number 8. Willow's post. Several days after the attack, the whole Smith family was silent, and it looked like no one was willing to speak on the incident publicly, until Willow Smith shared some cryptic tweets almost a week after her father's resignation from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. After the notorious slap incident, fans were rightfully on the edge of their seats, waiting to see if his kids agreed with his actions. But Willow instead chose to get very philosophical and tweeted, quote, "The meaning of life is found in challenge, and life is a series of reactions." But just when it looked like she was on the fence, she also posted a quote on her Instagram story that said, "You know who's going through a lot right now? Literally everyone. Just be kind." While the post came only a few days after the Oscars slap, she did not really make a correlation to the incident, but instead just implied that her father was going through a lot. It was probably a good move considering the extreme backlash that Smith was receiving, which he still hasn't managed to come back from even now. Number 7. Jaden's tweet. The 23-year-old was a lot more upfront when it came to rushing to his father's defense, tweeting, "And that's how we do it." Shortly after the slap, the rapper and actor chimed in after the eventful night for his parents at the 94th Academy Awards, being sure to show his support for Smith's actions, who was supposedly trying to defend his mother, Jada Pinkett Smith. Not only that, but in another tweet which Jaden posted shortly after the Oscars ended, he shared a photo of himself wearing sunglasses, looking very dazed in the backseat of a car, writing, quote, "My dad's speech made me cry." The photo got retweeted more than 42,000 times and was met with mostly negative responses from social media users, some alleging that the star was a hypocrite because earlier that month he tweeted, "Praying for peace in the world." Some users mocked his tweet by using his own past comments against him, saying that he should instead be talking about the political and economic state of the world right now. You gotta give them points for that. Number 6. The public apology. Fortunately, Smith did end up issuing what seemed like a real public apology to Chris Rock, starting the Instagram post off by saying, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive." The Oscar winner wrote this after he had some time to reflect on the incident, a full day after the ceremony where he won Best Actor for playing Venus and Serena Williams' father. Quote, "My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable." He went on to say that jokes at his own expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for him to bear and he reacted emotionally. He also admitted that slapping his longtime friend and comedian was way out of line and simply wrong. Smith said that he was embarrassed about his actions and said sorry to the Academy, the Oscar producers, and everyone in attendance, everyone watching from home. Although the apology seemed genuine, Smith still seemed to justify his actions in the post, and the backlash against him only intensified. It clearly didn't work out because not long after, the Academy announced that the actor was banned from attending the award show for the next 10 years. Number 5. Red Table Talk. Almost 2 months after Will struck the comedian in the face at the Academy Awards, Jada Pinkett Smith addressed the incident on her talk show, The Red Table Talk. At the beginning of the episode, Jada said into the camera, quote, "About Oscar night, my deepest hope is that these two intelligent, capable men have an opportunity to heal, talk this out, and reconcile." She then went on to say, "With the state of the world today, we need them both, and we all need one another more than ever." She spoke about how her family will come back from the incident, explaining that they will continue to do what they have always done for the past 28 years, and that's to keep figuring out this thing called life together. She decided not to mention it further, but going on family talk shows to clear the air might have brought them even more bad publicity, as everyone remembers the famous episode where Jada admitted to cheating on Will and being caught in an entanglement with a much younger man. Will looked absolutely defeated and on the verge of tears the whole time, which spawned a million memes as we know it. It was a complete disaster that turned many fans against Jada. Number 4. Summerfest dropouts. Summerfest lost a second headliner as the festival announced that Willow will no longer be performing at this year's big gig. The 21-year-old was set to take the Power stage on the 30th of June. But in a Facebook post, Summerfest announced that Willow will not be performing, and instead singers Gail and Nessa Barrett will replace her. What's really interesting is that she's actually the second headliner to drop out at this year's festival. Last week, Justin Bieber postponed his 2022 Summerfest show due to facial paralysis from Ramsay Hunt syndrome, and coincidentally, Jaden Smith was set to open for him that very same night. But with Bieber dropping out, so did Jaden. The performances at Summerfest would have been a great chance for the Smiths to come back from all the controversy that's rocked their family over the past few months. So it's a shame that they both dropped out given everything that's been going on. Number 3. New memoir. This might be one of the only ways for the now disgraced actor to restore his reputation. Will Smith reportedly isn't going to hold back when it comes to telling his story in his new memoir. In his deeply personal and vulnerable book, simply called Will, the Academy Award nominated actor details his life both in and out of the spotlight, from his early rap career in Philadelphia to his troubled relationship with his violent father. With the help of author Mark Manson, who wrote the very popular book The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, Smith reflects on the pivotal highlights of his impressive career, such as meeting Nelson Mandela and being selected by Steven Spielberg to star in the insanely popular sci-fi film Men in Black. The memoir will also share his lowest moments as a celebrity, a father, a son, and a husband. The book is introduced with the quote, "My father gave me my name, he gave me his name, and he gave me my greatest advantage in life, my ability to weather adversity." The book is supposed to be a very heartwarming read that provides a glimpse of the actor's real-life insecurities and trauma. Number 2. Willow's single. The 21-year-old is certainly a star in her own right when it comes to her music, and a great host on the Red Table Talk with her mum and grandmother. After being so quiet on social media, it looks like Willow's music career is finally starting up again, and she is well and truly ready for her family to make their comeback. When she shared the preview of her latest single, It's My Fault, she was seen in tears while the intro of the song was played. Many fans were quick to comment on the post after she had taken an extended break from posting online. Overall, her fans made it clear that they were glad she's back and still making music. Her tunes will no doubt have been a positive distraction to the star during the last few months, which has seen her family make waves in the spotlight and plenty of negative headlines all round. And coming in at number 1, I Am Legend. It's been revealed that Smith is planning to star in a sequel to one of his most iconic movies, I Am Legend. Speaking to The Sun, an industry insider revealed that Smith has been in talks to reprise his role as a scientist Robert Neville, whom he starred in the 2007 original film, which was a complete box office hit, making almost $600 million. The script is still being written at the moment, and sources close to the project reveal that the concept is still to be signed off by Warner Brothers, but there has been no indication that Will has been kicked off. The insider added, quote, "The reality is that Will make a comeback at some point, and it will simply be down to which studio will be the one to take a chance on him," and added that Warner Brothers Studios have not ruled out Smith returning to the movie franchise at all. In fact, according to The Sun, the negative sentiments from the public about his career have certainly reduced in recent weeks, as the world has totally moved on.
And at number 7, Barack Obama. Former President Barack Obama also couldn't hold his tongue when talking about the famous family, and it's definitely quite the compliment when the president is speaking about you. Or is it? The former president was talking about the changing dynamics of the American dream and how it's shifting with time, saying, "There was not that window into the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Kids weren't monitoring every day what Kim Kardashian was wearing or where Kanye West was going on vacation, and thinking that somehow was the mark of success." And ouch, here it's pretty obvious he was throwing some major shade their way. And he doesn't seem to like how they are now the standard for what success is. And apparently Kanye West did not like those comments and actually fired back at the president. But also, since Obama was a former president, I trust his opinion and judgment way more than Kanye's. And at number 6, Kris Humphries. Kris Humphries was someone who probably challenged the Kardashian family the most and exposed secrets about them I'm sure they did not want out. Kim and Kris got married in one of the most lavish televised ceremonies ever, but famously, after only 72 days, the couple split because Kim was having second thoughts. But based off how much content their reality shows got because of that relationship, then the breakup, Kris called Kim out for fraud, arguing that the whole relationship was just a publicity stunt. And their divorce was so messy it lasted 2 whole years before it was finalized. But during the massive trial, Kris exposed that a lot of the Kardashian show was scripted, and that the show purposefully made him look bad. Like when him and Scott threw a party in one episode while the girls were out of town, and they looked really horrible for going behind their backs when they told them not to have the party. The whole thing was actually just a huge sham, with Kim and Kourtney knowing about the party and acting like they didn't know for TV, in turn making Kris look like a terrible husband when it literally wasn't like that at all. Cat fight number 5, Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson revealed on a radio show that she was presented an opportunity to present an award with Kendall and Kylie Jenner, but Wilson ended up turning it down, with her saying in the interview, "I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the recent VMAs and said no. It's not that you hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I've worked really hard to get where I've gotten to." And even though a lot of people who dislike the Kardashians share the same sentiments, Oprah Winfrey actually came to their defense against Wilson, if you can believe it, with Oprah saying that she couldn't believe how hard the family works, referencing when she filmed The Family for Oprah's show, with crews taping The Family for 7 hours straight, and then they filmed more of their reality show after. So, as we all know, the Kardashian family really works very hard, even though it doesn't seem like they do too much. And at number 4, Bette Midler. After Kim uploaded her incredibly famous nude selfie where she covered her, nether regions with just like black bars, the internet went ablaze talking about it. One of the people that didn't hold their tongue was Bette Midler, who tweeted out, "Kim Kardashian tweeted a nude selfie today. If Kim wants us to see a part of her we've never seen, she's gonna have to swallow the camera." Which, come on, you have to admit, it's pretty hilarious. Like, even if you like the Kardashians, it's a good tweet. As a clapback, Kim tweeted out that it was past Bette's bedtime and that she was a fake friend. And Bette responded back, "Looks like anyone can take a selfie, but not everyone can take a joke." And then she lightened the tension by posting her own nude. When talking about the feud later, Bette had no hard feelings and said she takes Twitter pretty lightly and hoping that Kim did the same. Hopefully Kim wasn't actually too peeved about that. I mean, come on, it was clearly a joke. I don't know. And at number 3, Wendy Williams. If you watch Wendy's show, which I definitely do on occasion, she spills the tea like nobody else, then you know she does not like the Kardashians and is always very blunt when talking about them. But Wendy got the spot of a Kardashian hater when she made some shady comments about Kim after her robbery incident. And when talking about the incident in Paris, Wendy said, "I would hope that she's not making any part of this up for dramatic effect. Because this family, they're kind of soulless. You can't believe everything that you hear." But this was very, very upsetting. And although I do not agree with Wendy at all that the Paris incident was a publicity stunt, a lot of people did feel that the incident could have been exaggerated by the family for views, with people citing numerous times in the past that this has happened with the family. And again, I do not agree, but I mean, she just brought it up as kind of a possibility, and obviously, she loves to shade them whenever she can. And at number 2, Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna is another Kardashian ex who was ousted from the family after her and Rob's relationship ended. And you know that whatever went down was bad, because the family is still nice to Tristan and not Chyna, even though Tristan is arguably way worse and embarrassed them so much more. The first of the feud was surrounding the fact that Kylie started dating Tyga, who was Chyna's ex. Then Chyna started dating Rob. And then the two got engaged and then pregnant very quickly. But after they had Dream, the whole thing fell apart and Chyna and the Kardashians were facing off on social media. Chyna even filed a lawsuit against the family, claiming that they stopped her show Rob and Chyna from getting a second season. A judge dismissed that case, but Chyna still shades the Kardashians whenever she can. And at number 1, Anna Wintour. This last one is something that I had no idea existed, but it's probably the shadiest one of all. So Vogue is one of the most prestigious magazines to be on the cover of, and Kim Kardashian and Kanye West were put on the cover in a very controversial move by the magazine's editor, Anna Wintour. When talking about the criticism, she noted that it would be a misstep to ignore the couple's influence, and she made the choice to lead and deal with the backlash rather than follow. And all of that praise to the couple is, all well and good, until she gives them quite a backhanded compliment, saying, "I think if we just remain deeply tasteful and just put deeply tasteful people on the cover, it would be a rather boring magazine. Nobody would talk about us." And although I totally get what she's trying to say, calling the couple, deeply untasteful is definitely more than a little shady. But I mean, if anyone can shade anyone, it's Anna Wintour. She can shade whoever she wants. Alright guys, let me know what you're thinking about this one below. Which celebrity do you think was the shadiest, and how much do you trust the family? As you guys know, I personally love them so much, but I can also see times when it seemed that getting publicity is all that they really cared about.